A very big thank you for coming in, Andy.
You're more than welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
You're no relation to Gary, are you? Gary Barlow.
No, more likely a relationship to Ken.
Okay. Yeah, you've probably heard that joke before.
Yes, many a time.
I bet you never heard this one. When I saw you, and I attended your event in Holt near me a few weeks ago now, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I looked and I thought, is that Andy Parsons, the comedian? You've probably not heard that one.
Yes, so this interview has now just been cut very short.
I'm just insulting my guest. Yeah.
No, no such thing as an insult.
No, I just like to have a laugh and a joke. Life is too short. Life is too short.
It is. If unfortunately, a lot of people are just too wrapped up in narratives and everything to realise how fast their lives are moving away from them, and you've got to start taking it back. Got to enjoy it.
So really, what I wanted to do, I invited you because I know that a lot of people that I have on my channels, and I have 2 or 3 channels, probably in total is about 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers.
Wow.
It's difficult because they're not all in one space. They're all in separate channels.
Yeah.
Which would be nice if they were all in the same space and I had a few more, but I'm doing my best. Best.
Well, you're doing well. If you've got that amount of subscribers, you're doing an amazing job. So well done, you.
And as I said to you briefly in my email, I tend to deal with subjects which are concerning people with less ability. So I deal with the DWP, the system, people not getting what they're deserving, and having to deal with all the shit about persecution and things like this that they get from the government. And of course, with this COVID thing, we're getting a lot of that too.
Yes, a lot of labelling of people, a lot of division, a lot of, for want of a better word, a lot of nastiness out there at the moment.
So could you start off, I'm sure that some people know you, because you are quite famous.
No, I'm not.
Just start off with a brief sort of background of who you are and what you do and how you got here, where we are now.
Yes, of course. Thank you. How long you got?
Well, it's up to you, mate.
No, thank you. So welcome to me. My name's Andy Barlow. I don't go by any other names. I don't hide myself or pound any personas. Obviously, I have a person called Andrew Barlow, which I don't use very often. How did I come about this? So I was originally born in Guernsey in the Channel Islands. Moved to England in 2001. I was working in the aviation industry at the time. So when 9/11 happened, I instantly knew what happened there. I thought, oh, it's another one. So I always knew things weren't quite right. I was always the odd one out, the black sheep of the family, etc. So moving through, always been in the corporate world. So within the corporate world, I've always been there. Got to 2020, and then I left my marriage. Decided to try something different, become single, and then work on myself. Got involved in spirituality, but I was working in common law, Article 61 Magna Carta, trying to help people on that session as well. But it never really came off, never really had the power behind it. So I went down the old COVID rabbit holes. I'm sure everybody has been down there. Some are still down there, I believe. If you are, get out.
Yeah.
We got to August. I mentioned in my talk. Got to August 2020 when I tried to kill myself. I got to the point where I just couldn't deal with it anymore, and I felt so alone and so isolated because no one wanted to listen to me or talk because I was classed as a conspiracy theorist. And that's when I realised this thing called spirituality, and then I got involved with spiritual groups. We went to meditations, and then I did a medicine in July, I think it was 2021. And 2 days after that, I quit my job, realizing that people needed help. And I was starting to get involved with contract law from January 2021, understanding that everything runs as an offer, everything is commerce. And it's been a very steep learning curve to the point where I now sit where I am. Yes, things get thrown at me on a daily basis, but you deal with them as you see fit. When you realise that everything's not coming at you as the man or woman, it's coming at you as the straw man, and then you can deal with it better. So I've been doing this, I suppose, common law in total about 2 years, learning on the hoof, as they say, and just getting as much information as I possibly can. And I quit my job just to support men and women all over the world.
I was interested because you said that the articles. I remember in the event that we had, you were on about Article 61 and how it's not very reliable in terms of people relying on it to fight the system. And of course, I've seen a lot of people have success with it as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wonder what your thoughts on that process.
Yes, I think there has been success. I used it. I had one success out of about 15 I tried. It is very hit and miss. It literally doesn't have the power on against commerce, and that's the thing. It's great for using for court de jours. It's great for using for law on the land, but when it comes to commerce, that's when it's slightly difficult because it literally doesn't have the weight it needs. And when you think Article 61 was really only an agreement between King John and the barons anyway.
Yeah. And obviously you have to know what you're saying as well, don't you? Because there's a whole process about saying the right things at the right time. And because there was a shop there was a tattoo shop in Bristol, right back at the very beginning of this COVID thing. And they were using it. And I don't know. I don't think they managed to go the whole way with it because I think they got shut down in the end.
They did. I mean, that was Aaron. Aaron got involved with me in Article 61. I gave him all the training, all the documentation he needed, and he was adamant it's going to work. It doesn't when it's in commerce. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Two different jurisdictions.
So we have to talk about. I know there'll be a lot of people who are on one of my channels who know everything. They know everything about everything, and I'm still learning. I mean, I've been down the rabbit hole and I'm still there. So, it's quite difficult. And a lot of people are telling me, "Oh, you're saying that wrong. You're doing that wrong." And it's like, well, I'm still learning, mate. But just to clarify for people, the commercial thing and maritime element of it.
I'm one of those people that if anybody says, "Oh, you're doing it wrong. You should do it this way," I know everything. Then they're not learning. You never stop learning.
Yeah.
And I've made mistakes on this journey, horrendous mistakes, and I make mistakes every day. I mean, that's how we learn. So you've got to research. You've got to look at it. So contract law, commerce, whichever one you call it, everything that is given to us is an offer. And if you look at life as everything comes to you as an offer, the weather tomorrow is going to be raining. That's an offer. Thank you very much. I don't accept that. I'm going to go outside and do my sun dance. And I'm going to use my pineal gland to try and force the sun out. Didn't work today, but it's an offer. Everything comes to an offer.
Yeah.
And it's changing the mindset on how we talk to people and how we communicate. And unfortunately, we cross jurisdictions too many times. So we go into the private and then we go into the public and public into private. So it's difficult. Sorry, you going to say something?
I'm actually quite shocked how far back in history this goes, that we've been living these false lies and it just continues. And all of a sudden we found out that everything we've done in our whole, I'm 60 years old, but in my entire life, basically, it's all been a lie. I have not been doing what I think I've been doing, and I've been deceived.
Yes, that's it. It's deception and smoke and mirrors and lies. I mean, I think that's obviously you're obviously stood out from the crowd. You're obviously different to everyone else. You knew that certain things didn't feel right with you, etc. So luckily we were. I don't like to use the word awake. I like to think we are aware of the changes. It goes all the way back. I mean, when you think all the way through 1666 and before. When you think, Pope Boniface in 1302 created Unum Sanctum so he could become the richest man in the world. And then it all goes through to 1666 where they destroyed everything so they could have your mind, body and soul.
So that was the Great Fire of London, wasn't it?
Yeah, Greg's, I think it was, wasn't it? They'd obviously set up a newspaper, Greg's, and set fire to it.
The pies. Yes. But I like what you said about it was a cover-up job, wasn't it? To get rid of, because they really didn't know and they just thought, well, we'll start again.
That's it. I mean, they'd lost total control of who's alive, who's living on the streets, who's died. So they didn't have a very good recording system at the time. So they thought, okay, let's just destroy everything and start again. And that created the city of London as well, because the fire never reached there. It magically got put out before it got there.
Yeah, which is a corporation, isn't it? It's been set up as a corporation.
Well, it's actually a foreign country on foreign soil.
A bit like Rome, is that? Like in what's it called, the Vatican?
Yeah, you got three centres. You've got the Vatican, which is foreign country. You got obviously the City of London, and you got Washington DC.
And Washington as well. So it's three. Yeah, because it's always three, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's the power of three.
And also, like in religion as well, like God, Son, God, whatever it is. I'm not religious myself, but
no, not me. All I know, everything they do, everything they send us in the post or whatever is they send it 3 times. So it's all down to the test in the Bible where Peter was tested 3 times by Jesus, I think it was. So that's where it comes from. The Old Testament is actually a book on commerce.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And what's really interesting for me is that a long time ago, when somebody, whoever it was, had this idea, I just think it's amazing that they can think of this at the time and think that they can just do it, and they did. But who originally thought of it?
Well, I think I think deep down we all know who did it. It's the cabal. But if you actually read through history and everything, it actually goes all the way back to the Jesuit order. It's the Jesuit order that's actually creates everything now, and they control everything. I'm not saying Jews. I mean, the Jesuit order is based on Jews, but I'm not saying every Jew is a Jesuit order can follow. Like, not every Freemason is a 33-degree Mason.
No.
So it's a Jesuit order that controls, and they infiltrate everything.
Yeah, and obviously it goes back through. I know that my history was, because I have a period of history that I like, but also it's martial arts based, because I am a martial artist myself, and I love the samurai and a period of time when, as a country, they were invaded by foreigners, us lot, to be exploited basically, and the Jesuits were in their, in the front lines of it, weren't they? I mean, I don't know how much you know about that, but
I'm not sorry. Yeah, I'm not a big history buff.
You're not a history buff.
No, I tend to. I know what I know, and I think, do I need to know any more than that? No, not really. As long as I can give the basics to everybody's head and set people on a path, then that's fine.
Yeah. So you worked in the airport. What were you doing in the airport?
We used to be, nothing dodgy. Don't worry. No, it used to be called they used to call us ground jockeys or ground pilots, because we're dispatchers. So I was a aircraft dispatcher. So
okay, you were waving the little.
We marshaled the aircraft in, disembarked, did the baggage. We did a lot of things. It was based in Guernsey at the time, so it was a very small airport, but we had British Airways, Lufthansa, all those coming in, so kept us busy. And it was a really good time until 9/11 happened.
Yeah, and we all know about that, don't we?
Yeah, it's amazing. Some people still don't.
Exactly. A lot of people don't. And you mention it and you think, well, they think, what are you talking about? That's rubbish. It didn't happen. They didn't do that. What are you on about?
Well, it's like I said I think I said it in the talk. I said, working in the aviation room, so I said, come and look at this. The plane's gone right through the building. And I go, really? How can a tin can go through steel reinforced building? And aviation fuel does not burn that hot enough to melt steel.
And of course, then you got the building 7, haven't you, which just collapsed and was announced it was collapsed.
I actually think it didn't collapse. I actually think it fainted at the site. It said, I can't take this.
Yeah. We all know why they did it. It's all about the power, the cabal. Of course, this whole thing has escalated so badly. I don't know where we are at the moment. I think it's gone a bit quiet with the Ukraine thing. I don't know what you think about Ukraine. If you want to take that extra step further and become a financial supporter of the channel, then there are 3 methods of doing that. One is your traditional Patreon support, which around about the cost of 1 cup of Costa coffee per month will give you a support package. The other second method is a PayPal donation. This can be single or it can be recurring. And last but not least, you have YouTube membership program, which is a new system, very similar to Patreon, and the system has perks, icons and emojis that are unique to the channel.